Okay. I am so excited for today's podcast. Welcome to the She's More podcast, formerly known as the Fit Mom Society podcast. This guest I have on my dream list, my dream local list. Her name is Natasha Garrett. Natasha is like super hyper local to Southeast Texas area. I have listeners all over, but it's like my loyalists are true to Southeast Texas. So, Natasha, welcome to the show. Tell us, if we don't know who you are, what you're about, where you're from, all that.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. And so, it's just a lot of fun to get to do something different. A podcast is different for me. I've only done a few in my last couple of years. But my husband and I own G&G Enterprises, where most people are familiar with me. I also own a B&I franchise, Business Network International. It's the world's largest referral organization in the world. And then I serve on 6 or 7 boards locally. So I serve on boards and committees and spend a lot of time out in the community. So that's really about it. We have 3 kiddos, 2 in college at Texas A&M, one in high school at Hardin Jefferson. So we live locally and serve locally, and we just are working a lot at the moment. But
Yeah.
just like to hang out with. We have great friends from Southeast Texas. My husband grew up in Orange. He actually graduated from West Orange, and then I graduated from Conroe High School. And we met after college, but we've been back in Southeast Texas for, I want to say Adrian's 22, so almost 23 years. So 23
Yeah,
years
it's
in
been
June.
it's been a while. Yeah. So let for the local listeners too, I think they're gonna be interested to hear what we don't really normally hear from you is like take us back like to childhood, where you grew up, how you were as a kid. Was it always like entrepreneurial or was it like go getter or did that form over time?
So I grew up actually, my biological mom and I are close now, but I actually grew up in her home with her and her husband and my 2 half brothers. But at 14, I was in foster care. So I spent seventh grade through high school in foster care. I lived in a group home. So I lived in a family home for about a year and a half until I was, or 2 years until I was 16. And then I lived in a group home. So I wouldn't say I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. I didn't really have an example of that, but I've always been very driven. So in our company, we use strength finders, and belief is a responsibility is one of my top strengths. So I like to be responsible and like to get things done. I'm a rule follower. And so I think a lot of that, just who I am, helps me get to where I am today and kind of stay driven, because I think when you turn 18 in the system, the foster care system, it's not much has changed. I mean, I just turned 46 this year. And so it's shocking that not much has changed from the time I turned 18 to today. They've had some changes, but in my opinion, much like many of the systems that we have in place in the U.S., it's not a very strong system to support. And I think a lot of it is people don't know how to support. How do you make up for someone not having a mom and dad present in a roof over your head, 3 meals a day, loving home? There's no way to really make that up. And, so I just knew what I didn't want to do. I knew I
Yeah.
didn't want to have a broken home. I knew that I wanted kids. I knew that I wanted them. I knew what I didn't want. So we
Yeah.
just work hard, and it's just kind of, it's not fallen on Colin said the company is a second generation company. G&G is. It's much larger than when Colin and I moved back to Southeast Texas, and Colin really got involved with it. I was busy raising babies, happy to do so. Like, I was so happy to be able to stay at home with my kids as long as I did. But, we just, he's a hard worker. He's a very hard worker and very driven, and it just wants to be successful and wants to provide for not only us, but also for those around him. He's very, very giving. And so I think for us coming back into Orange, we lived in Orange up until about 2015, and we made the move to Beaumont just to be a little bit more central. It opened up a lot of opportunities for us to meet people, really. And so, for us, I just kind of, he was looking for someone to come in and market and do some things. And I was like, well, I can try it, like, no, because I'm not going to change. Like, I'm not going to leave in a year or two and we don't have to start over. Because,
Right.
in marketing, your companies, I see a lot of people that hire a bunch of people, but no one's really going to do it better than I can do for us as a family owned business. And so we just kind of jumped all in. My degree is actually not in marketing. It's funny. People laugh about that. My husband calls it turf grass management, but it's really agriculture education. It's now ag leadership at Texas A&M. Thank you. But it's where all the leadership classes are. And I'm a learner. That's one of my top 5 strengths. I'm a learner. So I'm constantly like, I love conferences. I love listening to podcasts. I love books. I love pouring into, and I pour into other people because I tell people all the time, you can't take that away. No one can take away what I know.
Yeah.
They can do a lot to me, but they cannot take away my education. So I spend a lot of time doing that. But back then, when we moved here, we had like 4 or 5 team members at G&G, and we have right over 80 today.
Wow.
So almost 20 years in. So it's been just a real blessing.
That's
Really.
awesome. And well, going back, and you already knew that you didn't want to stay in this place, broken family, or just that mindset, or anything of 18-year-old Natasha, right? Like, because a lot of us are not blessed of like, it's just what I know, right? And it just keeps going. And I think that was a real strength and a leverage. You had a leg up of like, I'm looking around and I don't want this. Right. So what was that first step into, okay, I don't want this. Where do I go now?
Yep. So when you turn 18 as a ward of the state, like literally once you graduate high school, like there is nowhere to go. Now I think they have a little bit more of a transitional housing. So I lived in a group home that actually had some transitional living, but I had a great job when I was 16. I worked at a dry cleaners in Conroe. I still passed the building. It's no longer a dry cleaners. It's now a bright purple. You cannot miss it. It's bright purple with some black trim, and it's an audio place. But the family there was incredible. And our son Graham is named after them. Their last name's Owen. And I really think they have the family life that I would have dreamed of. I mean, her name is it's Kim and Lonnie Owen, and they've just real special people in my life. And they showed up to high school graduation, to college graduation. She was in my wedding. Like I mean, we named our son after them. They've been that big of a support system in my life, and they still show up. I mean, we still do stuff with them, and they have their daughter Maggie has turned 25, 26. Man, I'm aging myself. I'm like, oh man, I remember when they were babies. And their son Matthews, he just turned 20. Adrian's 22. They're 10 months apart, so he just turned 23. He just graduated from Sam Houston. So we're just really. They still continue to be a blessing in my life, but they really did have an example. Her mom and dad are still alive. They're in their 80s, and they own the cleaners, and they always treated me like family. And really allowed me to, like I got a car. I mean, my first car was a $2,000 stuck in the back going to salvage, but I bought that car and I was so happy about it. It was a 1992 Mitsubishi Eclipse. I had to have an Eclipse. I loved it. I mean, the paint was fading, the headliner was falling down. I did not care. It was my car. Nowadays, I'm thinking like, gosh, I would never put my kid in a $2,000 car in the back of the salvage because it probably would have broken down. I'm sure that it would have all the things. Let me tell you, like Kim and her brother, because it was a family business and they would work in the business. Like Kim worked there all the time, and her brother had a job that when he would come in at the end of the day, he'd come in and help his parents out. They're just still very close family. And so she took me one day and filled my car up with gas, and then her brother had taken it to get it washed. I don't think it probably helped it much, but it was just nice stuff. But she still talks about because she was pregnant with Maggie and it was a stick shift. And she was like, yeah, remember that time you tried to kill me when you were driving me in the car, like throwing me around? We kind of talk about it, but they played it very much, still play a part in my life and kind of what I wanted in our family. I just
Yeah.
always keep that in my mind. Like I knew that that's what I wanted. And so, I had the opportunity I stayed close. I had another family that I was very close to. I met through the dry cleaners, and they were very active in my life too. And they really helped me. Like I lived with them after I turned 18, and I ended up going to junior college for 2 years. 1 year it's now Lone Star College, but it was Montgomery County College back in the day. And then I went to Blend for a year, and then got into Texas A&M. And when you turn 18 as a ward of the state, they pay for your college, but they don't pay for books, they don't pay for living, none of your expenses. And so you can see where when you're 18 and you get out and you have no place to live and you don't have family and you don't have all these things, and they're like, man, they pay for your college. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, there's a lot more than just paying that tuition. Like you have to live somewhere and you have to be in a place where you can study and, do the things. And so it was just I've really, really, and I tell youth these days, like, I'm like, take advantage of opportunities in a very positive way. So they've provided opportunities for me to really like breathe. I still worked through college, but I didn't have to. I knew I had somebody that I could count on if
Yeah.
I needed it. And they would show up and do the things I would never do for myself, like, because I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to go get my hair done professionally or go get my nails done or go do any of the things that kids are used to these days, or even me for that matter. I don't take the time a lot. I mean, I know my the lady that does my hair is always like, let's do some extensions. Let's do this. I'm like, how long do I have to sit there? Like, I'm not sitting in a chair. Like, if you can't get me in and out in about an hour and 15, I'm out. Like, whatever
Yeah.
you can do in an hour and 15, I'm good. But after
Yeah.
that, it's like, I have to go. So,
That's so
but
funny. And
yes, they're just
that's
been
just
big.
a yeah, that's just a testament of witnessing the hands and feet of Jesus too. It's like you are seeing what you want to do now, right? I'm sure you're pouring into whoever is around you because you were poured into, and that's so important for a young adult to do that. And I think most of my listeners are like our age, 35, 40, 45, have kids already and want to pour into their community, and they're like those little ways of like the kid down the street that is struggling, do have a to-go meal for them or like whatever, you know what I
A
mean?
word of
And
encouragement. I'm shocked at the things that parents don't say to their kids, or adults, really adults. And, my kids run sports and have been for, I mean, I'm a big, like, you don't have to be the best at the sport, but for me, a team sport teaches them to show up on time, to be prepared. You have practice, it's commitment, it's all these things. It's not, I mean, my husband laughs. He's like, we're Garrett's. We're not athletics. Like, we're not going pro athlete. We're not going to be a pro athlete. Like, it's not our jam. But being on a team sport really teaches you a lot of things. And so um, I'm always around the parents and the kids, and they're yelling at kids and saying like things that are hurtful and mean, like that are out of the kids' control. And I think growing up, how I grew up, like in high school, I was bullied over things that were completely out of my control. But when you're 15, 16, 17 years old, you don't realize that it's out of your control. Like, they're making fun of you because you're not wearing, back in our day, the kids, I don't know if you remember those, you're younger than me,
yes,
but
I
I
do.
wanted a pair of kids' shoes so bad, but I couldn't afford those. I had the Walmart brand, which are drastically different, not the quality, obviously, but when you're that age, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So I just but I see a lot of adults doing the same things they're still kids, they're still kids. And so it's like, don't, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything and just encourage them. I think, you don't have to have all the money in the world, and you don't, even if you can barely feeding your family, it doesn't cost anything to be nice and
Yeah.
to encourage. And, I'm around, I get blessed with a ton of opportunity to be around youth and even young professionals. And it's like, don't sell yourself short. Like, set your dreams, set the bar high. And when you reach that, set it higher and try to pass on some of the information that, just words of wisdom that I receive. I mean, I receive words of wisdom. I just told my son the other day, I was like, like, you need to hang out with people that are heading in the same direction as you and have goals in life. And when you realize that you're sitting in that room and you're the smartest one in there, you're the most successful one in there, I said, change rooms. Get
Yeah.
in a different Get in
100%.
another room that challenges you in ways, and whether that is through your family life, or is it challenging to be a part of, like, an entrepreneurial group of business owners, or is it with good parenting, you are who you hang out with. And, as our life and our kids grew up and we were hanging out with different people, we tend to hang out with people that parent their kids the same way, that
Yeah.
the same values, that really want them to, grow up and be responsible adults and hold them accountable and things. And so, I mean, I love our kids, but I mean, I tell them all the time, that just sounds like an excuse to me. So I want you to look in the mirror. And I always encourage them that's one thing I've learned as an entrepreneur is, before I go say anything, I try to really stop, look in the mirror, and make sure there's not something I could have done better first,
Yeah.
like, and then go. That, because I think there's a lot of that self-evaluation of, if I had handled a situation differently, or if I had spoke differently if I thought about, so I think it still goes back to being kind. Like I tell people all the time, I've never assumed somebody's doing something wrong. I'm going to assume that maybe they didn't know, or maybe they
That's
didn't have
good.
the resources, or they had some life circumstances come up first. And then I'll just ask the right questions, So I kind of tell my kids the same thing. Like, don't assume somebody just woke up today and said, I'm going to have a bad day and I'm going to screw yours up too.
Yeah. 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 Did those same or some of those family values that you learned at 16, 17, 18, did you pour those into y'all's family owned business today? Like the principles and the values and like the way they operate?
Yeah. So in our mission statement, like we are family owned, like we are second generation family first company, and I think that is one of the things that is attractive to our team members. I mean, we are very blessed. We have a very mix of people. So I have people that are headed towards retirement, and I have team members that are. We had 7 weddings 2 years ago. We had 7 babies the next year. We have 4 babies this year. So and that's fun to me because I'm like, I'm not grandma. I'm going to be called knick-knack. So I'm like, that's
My
what
mom's
my
the same. She's like,
knick-knack.
"No, no Gammy and Gamal, you're calling me Danny because her name's Danielle." Like
Yeah.
that's it. I'm not being
I'm
called
like,
that.
nothing wrong with grandma, but I was like, some of my very best friends, their kids always called me knick-knack. So I have a friend from high school that her dad called every time I'd come into the room, he'd go, "What's up, knick-knack?" And so when she had kids, she was like, "They're just gonna call you knick-knack." And so it's always stuck, and Dylan and
Yeah.
Gavin are about the same age. So they are 20. And so I was like, they're gonna call me knick-knack. So, but for us to have their families, that's exciting. And I like to see them hit that next season and celebrate. And I really try to just coach them on things because, like a wedding, for example, not a one of them listened to me, but I said elope. So save your money and elope because it's really not about the wedding. It's really about the marriage.
Yeah.
Now they're like, I should have done. I was like, listen, I know I did the same thing, but I'm just, I did the same thing, but it's like because I do tell them that like the wedding is fun and have fun, but don't get so caught up in the color of the napkins isn't correct, and so it's going to ruin my day. Or I said it's really about the marriage. And marriage is hard, so
Yeah.
don't get so consumed with what you think it will be because I did that. Being newly married and having babies, and we moved back here, and Colin's working 7 days a week in the company and building. He is figuring it out because he came from working for someone to working and being responsible for himself. And so it was. I wanted everything to be perfect. So looking back, I'm like, man, I missed a lot of just fun times of just letting it be. But the kids needed to be dressed, and I ironed his clothes, and I cleaned the house. I did all these things. And one day he was like, I don't like, we have that book called the five love languages. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
ever
us
seen that.
too.
And it turns out he likes all that stuff done, but he doesn't care that it's me that does it. So now I'm like, all right, good. We hired a housekeeper, and I dropped that stuff off at the dry cleaners, and we rock on with our day,
Yeah.
So because for him, he and I, it's weird. We have the same level of just quality time. Like we prefer the quality time, the touch, and words of affirmation are top on our list, and then acts of service and gifts are last for me. So it's like I like nice things, but I could do with or without. Not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I guess I had the misconceived notion that you and Colin built G&G. I didn't know it was second generation. So it was his father and
His
mother that started it. Okay.
It was his dad and his best friend at the time started the company, and then his partner had a transition, and his daughter was involved with the company for a couple of years, and then Colin bought out the daughter, and then we bought out his dad.
Okay. Okay, that's wild. So, and then y'all kind of swooped in. Well, he had already started it, right? And then y'all met after you were done with college. And then y'all have built this thing. I see G&G everywhere now on fences and billboards, and I love passing by y'all's flagship storefront, right? Like your office space. It's so beautiful. I know I texted you not long ago. I'm like, G&G is insane now. Like, what is happening? So where was that like shift in gears, I guess? Like, were y'all just like in operation mode, let's build this thing and then let's really gain visibility? Or was it a goal from the jump and it just maybe my eyes just started noticing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We pinch ourselves sometimes because we're like, man, we get to do this type. Okay. I think we had kind of set a goal in mind over the next 20 years. So, G&G started in 1986. So we'll be 40 next year. And we came in around 2000. So it's grown, but I think a lot of it's grown just because of how we are with the business and how we are in the community and the standard of how the expectations for Colin, like, our core values of quality and trust, integrity and safety are the main four core values. And then they're driven by all the other things you would think about leadership
Right.
and all the other things. But I think for us, we live in an area that throughout storms and, COVID and all the things that have really made a huge impact on a lot of different industries, we live in an area we're so blessed. And I hear people say negative things about Southeast Texas and it's like, hang on, guys, like, because if you were living in another state during COVID, like, we were so lucky to live here where we were still operating and we were still many, not everybody, but a lot of companies were still able to operate, which allowed us to do some things for a lot more charitable things because we were able to work unlike other
Yeah.
industries. And so we did our best to support food industries. And I mean, I bought more hair product than ever because, our hairstylist, she owns her salon, has employees. And so she's like, I was slinging some hair product, like trying to make sure that everybody was taken care of because I also use other small businesses,
Yeah.
all the things and support our friends in business. That's really the goal. And so we just are blessed. Like we've set this goal. We've been working with a business coach for about 5 years now. And so we have big goals, but I think a lot of the having a coach has really allowed us to have somebody to kind of brainstorm with and really
Yeah.
talk us off a ledge or help us not be overwhelmed or whatever's happening in the world, right? And so I think he challenged us to really stop and think like, okay, if we're going to do this for another 15 or 20 years, what does that look like? And I think it's become more of a realization as our kids have gotten older because it's one thing to talk about it, 10 or 15 years ago when I have 4 and 5, 6-year old and a newborn. And man, think about, man, one day our kids, well, now our kids are 22 and 20 and 16. So it's closer to them being at an age to where they would have the opportunity to come in to be part of G&G if that's what they choose to do. And now that I have the B&I franchise as well, that's another opportunity for them to come in and learn and do because I just love helping people, and it was a way for me to do that was working with BNI, and then of course having the opportunity to purchase the franchise was a no brainer for me. But now it just forces us to kind of make a little bit more of a plan, and I think the more team members you have, the more responsibility we feel to make sure that we are lining ourselves up, making very responsible business decisions because we're not just talking about me and Colin and
Yeah.
kids now. There was a point in time we could just go get a job if we needed to. But if that were our attitude now, like I have 80 team members that depend on us to make good, smart financial business decisions and to carry a name that is trusted in Southeast Texas to set a standard that people expect. And they're proud of that. And I'm proud of them because we couldn't do what we do with them. We
Yeah.
had a company meeting just a few weeks ago, and that's what I said, like, recognize them, give them a round of applause. Like, we are here. We are GG. Yes, it's me and Colin, but it's us. We couldn't do what we do. I can't be all the places, do all the things. And we have an incredible team. Probably one of our biggest blessings is the team that we have, and are continue to grow. And it's exciting. It's exciting to do something that makes such a big impact. So for us, it's yes, we get to build buildings, and that's great. We love that, but we get to build community, and that's mentoring that next generation, being involved with CTE programs, getting people interested in an industry that I don't know has always had as many professionally run companies as we do now, as we 40 years ago, you know. So I joke, I'm like, we're not just running around in a truck, building things.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
an and we have training and we have HR. There's so much opportunity for all people to be involved. It's not just and it's a very male dominant industry. And so I do a lot of, we do a lot of collaborations and part of a lot of construction science, construction management at Lamar, McNeese, Texas A&M. We visit at Sam Houston, some of the colleges that have those programs, and um, about 14% are female, which is nice. I mean, that's all in the construction industry. Only 14% are female,
It's
and
wild.
we employ 16 out of 80 something people. We have
Wow.
females here, not just support team. I have women out in safety or quality managers out in the field. So that's exciting to me to build that bridge and have a gap there, because I think as a woman, I think we bring a lot of attention to detail to an industry that is built on detail. And so
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
would we not have
Why
that?
would we? Yeah, why would we not? Like, and as this podcast is like founded, the mission is really encouraging women, especially moms. That's like 97% of my listenership is moms that are wanting to achieve more, wanting to get out of the box, wanting to, take the label off of mom or spouse or coworker or whatever. Like, that's why it's called She's More. She's so much more than all of those things that either society or ourselves have slapped on ourselves. How would you encourage a mom that wants to try and find opportunities, whether she's stay at home or she's got 4 and 5 or she's got a high schooler? Like, what would be that first step? Finding a new opportunity or kind of finding that thing that just like lights her up. What would be that first step?
Part of it is having the confidence to know that you do that. I think, I remember, and we had a lot going on. We had moved here. I had Adrian, and then we knew we wanted a second baby. And so I was pregnant with Gavin. Colin's working a ton. So, it's a lot of strain when your spouse is working all the time and you're at home. And I remember what I said that time, everything had to be perfect. So the house was always clean and all the things. I mean, it's still pretty clean, but
Yeah.
now I'm like, whatever, I'll leave those in the dishes in the sink till tomorrow
Yeah.
morning. Not often, but because I'm kind of OCD about it. But, I just don't sweat the small stuff anymore. And
Yeah.
I think, I kind of lost who I was, like who I was. I knew I was a mom. I was born to be a mom. One of the best jobs I've ever had is being a mom. I love my kids. I wanted to do it different, and I got a great opportunity to do that. So I I always tell people, like, don't, like, when I hear people go, I just stay at home with my kids. I'm like, that's the most important job you'll ever have. Like, it is the most fun. It's the quickest job you'll ever have. It literally flies by in a blink of an eye. And like, I just think back and think, man, what happened to my babies? Like, they are babies,
Right.
they're adults. I mean, the government says they're adults, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, I keep reminding them, when you're paying your own bills, then you're an adult. Until then, yeah, you have to listen to me.
Yeah.
So how this works. I think just having the confidence to know, not lose yourself, and do small things for yourself that you enjoy. So, I mean, if someone has the opportunity to kind of step out of, work, like my kids went to Mother's Day out. And so I used that time and I worked behind the scenes at G&G. So I was never up front. I was helping with payroll. I was helping, double checking the finances, different things like that, when it was much easier. And I joke because I would rather stab my eyes out than sit behind and look at finances. Like, not,
Yeah.
I like being out and about.
Yeah.
If you've ever
Same.
done that communication test on birds, I'm the peacock. I like to be busy. I know how to talk. I love to meet people and all the things. And so when we actually grew large enough to get a CFO, she's like, well, I mean, did you have it down to the penny? And I'm like, no, I had it within $100. Like, I was good to go. Just within $100. I was not going to find a penny. She would find a penny. I'm not finding a penny. I
Yeah.
just
That makes
knew
my throat close. Yeah. Forget it.
I'm out. Like, oh, within $100, good to go. I'm done. Now I'm different on other things that are super important that I love to do. Then that's different. But yeah, so I would just encourage them to not forget who they were and the things that they like. And I think as you grow up, even as you grow from 20 to 30 and to 40, your interests change, your friends change. I think you really develop, and really, you think you know who you are when you're 20, but you really find out who you are when you're probably 35 to 45, I think. And so I think finding something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy, um, is key. And then just figuring out how do you fit that in. So for me, I had to figure out what I could do here at G&G that I like to do. So for about a year, when we made the transition and opened an office in Beaumont, it was hard because I would catch myself just with getting in my own head, like, I don't know as much as Colin, and I'm not, I don't really build buildings and I don't know construction. And I'm not good enough to go do this job. And the reality of it is he and I work with my husband every day. And so he and I are great complements to one another. It's not to mean that we don't get on
Yeah.
each other's nerves or, whatever, because we do, but would not often. But, we'll have disagreements on how something should be done or this look or whatever. But I think the key was me finding what I like to do and how to make that incorporate that into our business. So I love to serve and I love to serve people. I love marketing, communications. I love HR stuff. I love the people business part of it. It's intriguing to me. So he jokes because I'm a big Dateline watcher, and I always have told him I just like Dateline because it's the people. Like, what are they thinking? Like, how do they think they're going to get away with this? And I'm wondering, like, what are they thinking? And a lot of what I do every day is the people business. So, I mean, we internally we have a huge crowd of people, but externally it's the people business as well. And so it's figuring out how to fit the people in and being strategic in the things that we do from a service standpoint. And is our team invested in that? Because I can only do so much. So we try to give opportunity. We encourage our team, get involved, be on a board, serve on a committee. I mean, we do all of that. And I encourage other companies to do that. Find your people and find a company that will let you invest where you live, where you live. And we have people that live all the way from Katy, Splendora, all the way to the lakes. They live all around Southeast Texas. So we are invested in a lot of different places, depending on where our team is and what they're interested in. And so I think just finding the thing you're passionate about and then finding a way to make that work. So I have figured out how to do that here. Doesn't mean I don't have things that I do that I are not my fan favorite of,
Yeah.
but I have to find something that is fulfilling to me. And it's fulfilling to me to be engaged with our team, to encourage our team, to be there, to keep that family feel is very important. And to do that, I also feel like you have to have boots on the ground serving in the community so that I know how to better help the community. I wouldn't know if I weren't in there. I wouldn't, most people are so stuck, like May comes around and it's like scholarship, scholarship, scholarship. And I think given where I came from and how I grew up, most people, I'm like, guys, you do know, like most of our school districts are more than 50% underserved.
Yeah.
So they're not eating at night. Like they're not thinking about college. Like even if college is paid for, they still have to have a place to live and food and books. Not as much books now, but though they need technology now, right? That is
Yeah.
outdated like that. And so it's one of those things. It's like I wouldn't know that if I weren't immersed in the things I'm in to know. And so that's why like I'm on the BBB Education Foundation board, and we've started establishing some small business grants and doing like at the women's conference. We did a grant for it. They could be for anything. Like if you want it, you could say, I want to do a Canva class. It's going to cost $1,000. We reimburse you. It's on anything, a certification, because I think we still have a ton of opportunity to change people's lives. And so I would encourage anyone that is not staying at home, being a mom, to just find something you're passionate about and find you a group of solid ladies that will encourage you to do that. Help you with your kids. I had friends that
Yeah.
if I were to do something, they helped me with my kids. I mean, and I helped them, we were just leaned on one another and had a lot of support. Um, because our husbands were the breadwinners and working and young. I mean, we were 20 years, I was 22, 23 years old,
So young.
so
So
young. So
young.
I look
Yeah.
back, my daughter's 22, and I'm like, God, I had a
Oh my
baby.
gosh.
No
Yeah.
way, I can't believe it. God.
Yeah. And
Very
I think my gosh. But I think that also requires a level of getting out of your comfort zone, being willing to be uncomfortable, being willing to make an ask, being willing to say, gosh, I see what she's doing. Let me ask her how she's doing it because I want to do that thing too. And like you said, surrounding yourself with a community. When we say it takes a village, it takes a dang village. Like, or find opportunities that you can tag your kids along too. Like, what is their job in this new thing you want to do? But also taking a step back and figuring out, well, what is that thing that is my passion or lights me up? Like, I haven't thought about that in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, taking the time to take a step back and figure out, okay, all of us need to be serving regardless. Like, bottom line, we need to be serving somewhere, somehow, some way. What is that thing? What are you good at that, maybe somebody else finds they're struggling in, and how can y'all work together and make something beautiful? Like it,
Right.
and for those introverted moms that are listening, I know you're listening and you're like, oh gosh, I don't know if I can talk to anybody. You can, find that strength that you might be a behind the scenes girly, and that's okay. And
I
there's
mean,
somebody else that does the video or does the communication piece or talks out in the community. And you're like, I'll write your script, I'll write your notes. I'm really good at copywriting or whatever. But it's opening up a line of communication and being willing to have a conversation and connect the dots together. Wouldn't you agree with that?
100%. I think you hear this growing up. The only dumb question is the one you don't ask. And I think that from an entrepreneur standpoint, the only thing they can tell me is no. And I think one of the biggest things for me, believe it or not, I was very quiet. I didn't, I mean, public people would rather die than public speak. And I was very nervous. I was a very nervous public speaker. And so I think you're right about being uncomfortable. Like, push your comfort zone. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So I see many people that have incredible talents that know I'm a great singer, but I'm not going to sing in public. And I'm like, gosh, you don't have to go sing in your church, go sing in the children's. I mean,
Yeah.
you're always fun with the kids. Go take that huge blessing that God gave you, because Lord knows I cannot carry a tune in a bucket. I think I can, but go take that to the children, because the children think you're amazing, right? And then
Mhm.
bring their confidence up, because then you're still around some adults, but you're not in the front of the church, right? I think you're not asking you to sing the national anthem at, the SEC championship game. Like we are, you're in front of the kids and we're singing some songs. And I think you have to find that thing that just really excites you. And I think you also have to, I've watched your on social media, like you have to talk about it and you have to ask. And that's a lot of my BNI franchises. I tell people, quit asking for the things you're going to get anyway. So, like, we had a meeting this week, and one of the asks, like, if you had one ask to ask for, and it would change your world, like, what would that be? And I'm trying to remember, because it was good. It was, but I have had a member actually ask to meet Matthew McConaughey, and he got in a room with not Matthew McConaughey, but with JD Vance. Kid you not. It was on some safety stuff for classrooms in schools. So, I mean, but my point in this is ask big.
Yeah.
You don't know who the people around you know, and that's the point of the network that you have. It's not to sell to one another. Your friends might use your business, they may not, but I really want to know who they know. And so don't a lot of people think build it and they'll come. No, they won't.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be a hot token for a second, but if you aren't marketing yourself and your business in some way, then if it were, I tell people this all the time, if it was as easy as joining a chamber, every business owner would be successful. We would never have businesses struggling. But the key is really getting out there and marketing yourself. So that's why I say you want to be passionate about it, because when you're marketing it, and especially if you're using social media and you're doing videos and those things, it's not like you're creating a logo and slapping in all the
Yeah.
things, but with social media and podcasts and TikTok and all the things, I mean, there's a difference in going, "Oh, I'm so excited to be here
Mhm.
today," versus, "Oh my gosh, come and join us," right? So you can't fake that you don't love something for
Yeah.
long. Like
Yeah.
eventually the people see through, because
They
eventually
will
they show
sniff it
up.
out. They
You were
will
so excited about
100%
the
sniff
show,
it
and
out.
now like you don't like kids, but now you own a junk place. Come
Yeah.
on. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Can't believe you don't like kids. But it's the same. Like you have to find something you're passionate about and enjoy, and then watch around you. I don't think every business can be huge marketed on social media, but I mean, what do you have to lose? For us, not everybody's going to get on social media and go, "Oh my gosh, we need them to build that. I don't care what it costs." That's not how it works in my world, right? But what I do need people to know from social media is that we're a family owned business, and that we have a lot of exciting stuff happening, and that we serve our community, and that we cut up and have fun,
Yeah.
and like we're still people too. So we try to diffuse some of the, oh well, I didn't, because even internally, we have team members that are like, oh my gosh, they're the owners, and it's like we have an open door policy. I mean, I wish more people use that, like truly. use that. And I've been to career fairs and all sorts of stuff. I'll give them a card with my cell phone number on it, say, hey, like, you're not moving to Southeast Texas, and that's okay. I can still help you. If you
Yeah,
want your resume reviewed, send it to me. My HR director, she will red pen some things up for you.
that's
Like,
so good.
you know, like it's those types of things that you do that not just for students, but why not for other moms? Why not for other
Yeah,
people, anybody that needs help, you know? So I think having a group of people and especially going through the season with you, I think it's harder when I have a lot of friends that we all have kids the same age, but I have some that have been in, married late or second marriages that have little kids. And sometimes I'm like, oh, can't go, gotta be in bed by 7. I've got now I'm like, gosh, I wish I could go to bed at 7.
yeah.
But now we have practice till 9, I'm like, oh, he's not driving yet on his own. I'm like, okay, I gotta stay up till 9. Okay, I can do this. Having people that are going through that same season with you to where we have friends, we made dinner, like I might make dinner twice a week and I made enough and we shared it. Like we did things to really help each other out to
Yeah,
where, like your relationships are important with your girlfriends or your best friends. Was I have a couple of friends that are super close with that are guys. And then with your spouse. Like so we did what we need to do as a group to help each other make those things happen. So when you have multiple kids and you have to split, divide and conquer because one has a baseball tournament and the other has a dance recital, we divided and conquered. And if their husbands were working or their spouse was working or mom needed to be out of town and dad needed help. I mean, I had a friend that had twins and her, unfortunately, she had to leave. They were 6 weeks old and her husband is a surgeon and she had two little ones, as well. I think they were 3 and 5, and these babies. And then they had to turn around, and she had to go out of town to a funeral for a weekend. And I had these. I rolled in. I just moved on in because Lord knows I have nothing for
yeah,
twins, right?
yeah.
I just rolled in and stayed for the weekend, and he was so thankful. And my husband came over and helped with the kids because it was on the
Wow.
weekend, and he was at a spot where our kids always hung out. We just do things, and I think you really have to find the genuine people that are going to reciprocate that. So in business, I talk a lot about like VCP. You're visible with people, you build credibility and profitability. And a lot of people think like, man, yeah, I'm profitable. Like you send me business all the time. Like I use you all the time, but you don't send me anything. That's not profitability. Profitability is
Yeah,
a two-way street, but I
yeah.
also think that's a two-way street in relationships. So find that circle of friends that you can always count on that is reciprocating what you're giving. Otherwise, you feel taken advantage of, and sometimes it's because we just don't have tough conversations and say, hey,
Yeah, and you start building resentment, and then you really start to break that bridge starts to get burned, and then the whole thing implodes, right? Like,
over
that's not a
nothing.
good spot to be in
Yes, it
either.
doesn't be something if we do that. But yeah, I think figuring out a way to make your dreams come true, no matter how big or small, and your dream today might not be huge, but you never know where that's going to take you. I have someone else I will refer you, but because she's incredible and she's right here in Southeast Texas, she spoke at my bag and brunch events for the women's conference. And she is educated and husband's in the military and traveled, and her and a friend created this a bag company that's incredible. And
Love it.
she has her own marketing company. And I mean, because she'll speak on behalf of the company, but it runs itself. I mean, it's incredible. But she found a way to employ military spouses because they
Incredible. I love that.
travel on time. Really
Yeah.
amazing. So I would love for you to meet her. I won't spoil it for the listeners.
Yeah,
I'll let them.
yeah, no, put a warm introduction, a text thread or something. I'd love to have her on.
No
Um,
problem doing it because she's awesome, and she has a young children, middle school and high schooler. And I mean, when someone made the introduction to me, I was like, they're in Southeast Texas, like what? And they said, yeah,
incredible.
they love it. So yeah, right here.
That's
And she's
awesome.
talented,
Thank
has a
you.
master's degree in architecture. So that artsy marketing brain.
Yeah, love
Yeah,
that. That'll be a cool perspective. Okay, before we let you go, I wanna know, like, what are you doing? And this is just selfishly, I wanna know. What are you doing, like, to be on your tip top game? Like, whether that's creativity, like, what's fueling your creativity? What's fueling your clarity? What's fueling your focus? What are you doing? Is it a morning routine? Is it what you're eating? Like, what are those things that are making you stay right here at all times? And not that you're there at all times, like, of course, we
right.
have crap days and all of that, but, like, what yeah, like, when you have strep and you still gotta show up, that's all.
So I'm a huge animal lover. And so I don't I am good with an accountability partner, but I can everything else comes before me and what I want to do. And so here recently, now I've been under the weather the last couple weeks, unfortunately, but I just because I was getting up at 5, trying to be gone by 5:30 to go to the gym at 6. And then I'd come here to the office to actually shower because a lot of my mornings will start in the office by 8 with appointments starting at 8:30 or whatever. But I have 2 foster dogs, and they have to be walked every day, a couple of miles, because I teach them, how to walk on a leash and not to jump and all the things. And so I think having that accountability person helps me. Uh, but I've really become focused, I think, more on I don't know if you've ever heard of the Whoop app. Okay. So my husband thought he'd get one, and then it's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then I didn't know the answer, so I ended up getting me one. Yeah. And so every day now we do old people stuff like, "Hey, what was your sleep score last night?"
Love. No, I love and geek over this stuff. I'm obsessed.
I am too now. I think having something like this is like my accountability partner keeps me like going to bed at a certain time because
Yeah.
you hear your whole life how important sleep is. Sleep is, sleep is. I can tell you if I get a good night's sleep, I'm way better. I'm really trying to hit a high protein diet, low carb, higher protein because my body functions better. I will not lose any weight I'm wanting to lose if I am not fueling my body. I really started that several years ago with the whole regimen. And it sounds crazy, but I think any busy mom can relate. Like I try to wash my face in the morning and nighttime sometimes, right? A struggle. I know we have a lot of electronics, but I also have a planner that I
Yeah.
use, I literally write it out, and it's called Full Focus Wellness. And so it incorporates my water intake, all the things. So I really try to do at least typically a half gallon, typically a gallon of water every day, high protein, try to walk 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. With the dogs, typically it's every day. And thankfully I have an assistant that helps me a lot when I have very busy or late evenings. And then I have 7 dogs of my own. So I find a lot of enjoy. I know. Bring your kids over, have my own little petting zoo. But I love dogs. They just bring me so much joy. And I think finding that time to where I can just go and veg, I can sit out there and read, I can do what,
Yeah.
So try to just, keep on a health wise. I really and I try not to sweat the small stuff. I really just try to give it to God and not stress over the things that are out of my control. I can really only control me and
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And so I try to do what I can do. Try not to make an unrealistic list of things to do for today, because reality is you're probably going to get 2 or 3 things complete, and that is the goal.
That's good,
Right?
and that's okay. That's okay. Well, and that's encouraging that you keep it super simple because I think a lot of us just think we've got to have a 15-step system and we've got to have X, Y, and Z done, or I can't get anything. You know what? I kind of analysis by a paralysis by analysis type thing.
I will tell all of you what my 4 things are for this week. These are
Okay,
the things. I try to keep my protein at 90 grams, take my vitamins. I'm a terrible pill taker, terrible. My skincare and water.
love.
My 4, like they just my habits, the like habits that I want to do. And then in my schedule, I use my schedule and put in my workout time. And I put in like my
That's good.
reading. So
Yeah,
I've just got the spiral Bibles that I want to because they bend and move and all the things easier than my bound Bible. So I'm going to challenge myself in January when I read the Bible in a year. So I mean, those are things though that if I don't schedule it, I have all of the intentions to go there. But by the time I get home and and then I have a 16-year-old at home. So, and he is that third one where it's at. That's the one that keeps you on your toes. So I'm constantly like, he's like, I've already figured out a ride to get to where I'm going. I'm like, dude, I don't even know them. You're not riding with them. Like, that's not
yeah,
how this works.
yeah.
So by the time you get home, your best of intentions, but it's like dishes and laundry and your kiddos and all the things. So I really do try to schedule it in the day to give me the best chance at fulfilling it. I don't fulfill everything every day, but I do my very best to schedule it out to make sure that one thing I didn't do probably for 20 years is really do anything for myself. And
Mm.
I've really tried to make sure that I'm doing some things for myself.
Yeah, I love that. That's go ahead.
I said just to help me feel better. Like I think if I know you do that a lot, like make
Yeah.
the time for you. And I would encourage everybody. I don't care if you have no children and you're coming out of college, make some time for yourself. to do something you like to do, whether it's go on a walk. And I tell this to my kids because we have a lot of mental health. I'm so anxiety driven. I'm like, get out, get some sunshine, go on a walk, take your dog on a walk, take your neighbor's dog on a walk. Don't care. Go play with some children, go do something that just it your body will produce naturally things that will
Yes.
help you be in a better mood, help you overcome and pray about it because
Yeah.
there's just some things are out of your control.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely. You cannot pour from an empty cup. We've all heard it, yet we all ignore it. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Ever,
cannot do it
ever.
ever. Yep.
Natasha, thank you so much for this. I think it was just a little bit of insight into, a high achieving, high serving woman in our community that we probably know. You know what I mean? So it's a delight to get a little inkling of your schedule, what you're about, the mission behind, G&G and how you're achieving it all gracefully or not gracefully, sometimes. And that's just the reality. So thank you for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.